he thinks.
I don't think Ronnie O'Sullivan's done that much this year to warrant it.
No.
He's the favourite, apparently, with the bookies.
Is he? I've not seen that.
Yeah, with
Hamilton...
the bookies, he's the favourite. I don't know why.
No.
Yeah, Hamilton's won it before. That's usually a drawback, isn't it?
Share it around.
I think maybe with O'Sullivan, the fact that what he has achieved in the past hasn't sort of been recognised as a nominee.
Yeah.
That's true. All like the old days when you sent in your own personal votes, and then they just totted it all up and decided who's won it.
I don't think there's been anything really outstanding this year, apart from Lewis Hamilton. I think, it's one of those years where it's difficult to really pick someone who stood out.
Yeah. Well, all the major events haven't taken place, have they? Should have been the Olympics, been the Euros, and it's just been a naff year.
I think this year they've only got 6 nominees. They usually have 12, don't they?
Yeah, that's right. I was surprised there were so few.
Right, we are about ready, are we, for Lol to continue with the news of the week? News of the week.
A French referee, 36-year-old Stephanie Frappart, was the first female to take charge of a Champions League game when she refereed the Juventus against Dynamo Kiev match last week. She was also the first to referee a men's European match when she took charge of the UEFA Super Cup final between Liverpool and Chelsea last year.
Well, they're not recognising Brian's sex change then.
What are your views, Brian, on female referees taking big shapes like this?
I can't see any issue if they've gone through the mill like every other referee has, and they've come out of it at the top using the same systems that apply to everyone else. Then nothing at all wrong with it, as I see it.
No.
John?
Yeah?
There's more people had a sex change than you think, mate. I had
Oh,
one.
yeah.
I had one. You bet you didn't know about that.
I didn't, mate. I didn't.
From Tuesdays to Fridays.
Well, there was that case, wasn't there, that was well publicised in the news of one guy who actually said that when he was filling a form in, and he said, to which gender do you recognise yourself? And he sort of said, well, from Monday to Wednesday, I'm a man. From Thursday to Friday, I'm transgender. and he put that in on his form, trying to be funny. And apparently it took off. And it got millions of views and much publicity, just trying to show that the system's a bit crazy. Yeah.
Good bit.
Who's just left in disgust?
Colin.
We've lost somebody.
Man down.
Chris is gone, isn't he?
Chris has disappeared.
Chris.
Yeah.
We weren't talking about women's cricket either, were we?
No. But we upset him.
Right, go on then, Lol, continue.
Okay. Now, after a 7-month standoff, the Premier League have finally reached an agreement to support struggling lower league clubs to the tune of £250 million. The package includes £50 million in grants for the League One and League Two clubs and an interest-free loan of £200 million loan for the Championship clubs.
A loan.
So, that's a loan.
So does that mean that United have loaned money to Wednesday, for instance?
Yeah.
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 Hope you spend it well, John.
I'll meet Paul halfway between here and Drumfield for my share. Yeah.
Yeah.
Surely financial fair play can't apply this year. Because the finances are all over Shant, aren't they?
Yeah.
Well, it's
Yeah.
never applied to
Well,
Wednesday.
this was the Premier League's argument,
Yeah,
not for the first and second, but for the Championship.
correct.
Some of those owners so rich. I mean, Chanseri's worth 5.6 billion.
Yeah.
Why don't they let them put some money in?
Yeah,
But
let
they
him spend
can't,
it.
because if they put
If he's
money
got it,
in,
let
they're
him
going to be
spend it.
breaking fair play rules.
Yeah.
Well, it's a bit rich coming from Premier League argument like that when they're splashing all these billions on players and are taking mick out of taxpayers who are paying the furlough for the people who these Premier League clubs put on furlough.
Exactly.
So that's a bit
see-
rich, that argument.
I don't know whether Lowell's going to cover it. I see they've had a bit of a setback, the Premier League, after Brexit. They wanted, and I may get the numbers wrong here, but they've got a point system based on internationals, youth internationals, standing of the club, and they wanted it at 10 points to be able to buy a player, or for him to get a work permit, and it's been set at 15, which is significantly more difficult to get. So they've had a bit of a knockback with that. So they're not quite getting it their own way. Don't know, were you going to cover that, Lol, or have I stole your thunder?
No, you carry on. You carry on with it. If you've any more to say about it.
All I can say is that for clubs in the Championship and lower, it's going to be very difficult to get foreign players next season.
Yeah.
It's going to be very difficult because they won't be able to buy the players with the number of international caps and from the status of club that they're going to come from. Interesting. They're having being knocked about a bit at the moment, the Premier League.
Might not be a bad thing.
I think in the short term, it'll allow English players, young English players who have grown up, if you like, in an international environment and built their skills by playing with the better players. I think short term, it'll give them a chance. But longer term, you've lost the impetus of the foreign player coming to play in the UK, sharing their skills, and their expertise. So I think it's a double-edged sword.
Yeah, but what they're saying here is only the very best will come. And he's right, you'll look at sides in League One and League Two, full of foreign players. He's not right. Full of foreign players. I can understand the Premier League.
I'm interested to see how that plays out, Ron, because I think you're right. But there's some of the so-called best players who have struggled when they've come to the UK playing in the Premier League.
Yeah.
It's taken them a couple of seasons to find their feet, if you excuse the pun. But so, how does that point system really work? And is it really an accurate reflection of how that individual has the potential to play in the Premier League? You know what I mean?
No point system's going to be accurate, is it, Ian?
No,
the other thing is they can't sign a non-British player till they're 18 years old. So they can't go around nicking these youngsters. They've got to be 18 before they can buy them.
That's gonna cause problems later down the line, because such as Barcelona and Real Madrid and Bayern will be able to sign these players. So
Yeah,
Make them stronger.
I think that bit might change, but they can't get work permits under the point system. They can't get, a 16-year-old lad might be a world beater, but he can't get the points.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's going to be
Pepe,
based on a
for
point system.
example.
But such as a French lad will be able to be signed by such as Bayern and Real Madrid and that because
Oh yeah,
It's a pity because
it's
you've got Real Madrid and Barcelona
it's
at the lowest ebb at the moment, and yet you're almost handing an opportunity back to them.
yeah.
Barcelona
The-
certainly are.
it's a side effect of Brexit, because in the past you've had free movement in the EU, so they could take anybody they wanted.
Yeah.
So I'm not going into politics and whether you think it's a good thing or a bad thing, but it's a consequence of it.
That's right. It's Is it a 6-month work permit, or the work permit lasts for 6 months or something?
Yeah, but you've still got to get the number of points.
Yeah.
Does anybody know if the players that are existing at the moment have exemption from this?
Yes, they have. Anybody who's in this country, providing they apply for it, has got exemption. It's only new entries.
I think that's part of the divorce.
And I can't imagine any football. Yeah, I can't imagine any football club being stupid enough not to have arranged to make sure their foreign players have got resident status.
Don't bank on it.
No, don't bank on that.
No.
Yeah, because United have got about 4 at least.
Mm.
4 in the first team or in the first team squad. And they've got some juniors as well. So,
I'll tell you what's annoyed me about this weekend's football, and I've only seen this on TV, obviously, but they've allowed spectators back into the ground in some areas, which is an argument in itself because others can't have fans. But when you look on TV, the social distancing, they've set all these seats out and the likes. This is where you can sit, this is where you can't. And you look on TV 10 minutes into a game, and it's like one big huddle. And
There is no way they're socially distancing.
Absolutely. And I just think for apart from the obvious effects with the contagious nature of the disease, the image it gives to football is awful. It's awful because
it's not just football. It's not just football, Brian. It's a reflection. That's why London, Essex, and Kent have got a rising coronavirus because people are not sticking to the rules. And when you get excited or drunk, where the real problem happens, all those rules just get waived and people merge together. And you're dead right. On the cop, they got closer and closer and closer because the sound they were projecting was better the closer they were. That's the mentality, and it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
did anybody see the crowds in front of Harrods in London?
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Was there a match on?
Even worse, try Primark in Birmingham.
Yeah.
And Nottingham.
I'm not going all that way for blooming Primark.
What about Nottingham Marketplace?
Yeah, all jumping up and down, singing, phones and mobile phones.
Yeah, and then there was a house in Nottingham with 150 people in it.
Someone was normal.
That was just a family.
£10,000. The guy organised that party.
Anyway, let's move back to sport. Come on, Lol.
Okay.
Carry on with your football.
Now, Chesterfield, they've appointed 37-year-old James Rowe as their new manager. Rowe joins the Spireites from National League North outfit Gloucester City on a deal until the end of the 2022-3 season. And he replaces John Pemberton, who left the club on November the 18th. Anybody know much about James Rowe? Never heard of him.
No, but I'm Gloucester City top of the league. I'm not sure, but I thought Gloucester were top of the league.
They could be, Ron.
Why are they in the
Northern
North?
Premier League or whatever it is.
That's a good question.
Well, I
that. Why
don't
they
know.
Well,
It's interesting that because it depends who gets relegated from the National League
yeah, that's true.
and
yeah.
where they're geographically placed.
Ah,
So there must have
Yeah.
been a lot of southern teams relegated, so they've had to sort of drop the borderline.
Yeah, that's
Some
right.
sides change league without even finishing mid-table if they're in a different league the following season.
Yeah, this is some clubs that are on the cusp geographically, like you say, from one season to next.
Yeah.
They don't actually know what league they're going to be playing in next season, irrespective of whether they get promoted or relegated. It's just where they sit in the country, like I say, relative to all the other teams.
Wasn't Northampton like that when there was a League Division 3 North and a League
Yeah.
Division 3 South?
yeah.
Yeah.
They get flipping from north to south.
So,
I thought
I'll ask my next.
Gloucester were doing. Sorry, Chris.
It's all right. I was just going to say, I'll ask my neighbour about James Rowe because I have no idea who James Rowe is. But I'll ask our friend down the road what he knows.
Yeah,
I'll report back on that.
he was formerly coach at Charlton Athletic.
Okay.
So that's. I'm just looking now on the computer. So
You spoilt that, Keith. I thought you just knew that, and then you've gone.
I'm sorry.
I just thought, wow, what a great football knowledge, and then you've ruined the whole illusion.
Well, I'm sorry.
All right, Keith.
So that's who he is. So, right, go on then, Lowell.
Another club to have lost a manager, Sunderland, who parted company last week with Phil Parkinson after 13 months in charge, with the club 7th in League One. They have appointed Lee Johnson as their new head coach on a 2.5-year deal, and Johnson has been out of work since being sacked by Bristol City in July. Now, Cristiano Ronaldo, he scored the 750th goal of his career last week when he scored for Juventus in the Champions League. His scoring record is as follows: Sporting Lisbon, which is his boyhood club, 5, Manchester United, 118, Juventus, 75, and Portugal, 102. And then take.
Hang on, that's not 750.
750.
No, but
That was his.
There must be some at Real Madrid.
That was his diving. That was
Well,
his
what you gotta do,
diving
you-
record.
you've got to add those together and take him off 750. Then you know how many scored for Real Madrid. I think it's 418 or something like that. Look
Right.
it up, Keith.
I'm not.
I think that was something to do with falling over. That record.
I understand why I missed that one.
Talking about falling over, I was watching an Aston Villa game the other week, and all the players looked quite clean towards the end of the game.
Except
But
for
there
Grealish.
there was one player.
Grealish.
He looked like he'd been dragged through a hedge, rolled over. It was incredible.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
That's a good
I mean, it
answer.
speaks for itself, doesn't it?
He's broken COVID rules as well, hasn't he? Again.
Is it?
Yeah.
Again,
Yeah.
it should be a criminal offence in his case.
Him and, is it Ross Barkley?
Perhaps.
But
Last
he
weekend.
should
Total
be
praps.
banned by
Yeah.
the FA.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In fact, I was going to mention that what do you think Newcastle are in for some sanctions because they were unable to play their game due to a COVID outbreak at their training ground? When you look at Scotland, where there's 2 teams that have been fined and deducted points or points awarded to their opponents because they were unable to play games due to COVID outbreaks at the club. Newcastle could be set for something similar.
Relegation.
How far are they above you, Keith?
Hey?
How far are they above you? How many points do you need them to be deducted?
Oh no, I wasn't.
All of them.
I know you weren't. I
I was.
I think it depends. It depends how the outbreak occurred. If they've not been strict enough in their COVID bubbles, etc., then yes. If it's something they could do nothing about, then no.
Yeah, but I don't accept the argument that a Premier club can do nothing about it.
No.
How many players have they got?
I think this COVID business it's all dependent on individuals' behaviour, and I think that's what you're seeing.
Yeah.
It may be 1 in 100 or 1 in 1,000, but there's always one rotten apple who thinks I'm the special one, and ain't Jose Mourinho. It's the one who says the rules are not intended for me.
Yeah.
And they put everybody else at risk. And I think you're right. There should be some way of penalising them financially or whatever, or banning them and saying, you don't understand. When you get it, you can play with the big boys. But until you do, you're not playing.
Yeah, and for me, Grealish and Barkley should get a 3-match ban. If they've broken the rule.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, you're right.
They should be self-isolating for 14 days anyhow, shouldn't they? So,
yeah.
Particularly with a repeat offender, I think you're
if
right.
If they give them a 3-match ban on top of that, then that really does send out the right message to everybody that we're not, if you break the COVID rules, then this is a consequence.
Yeah.
They'd end up with about a 6-match ban, wouldn't they? Because if 14 days self-isolation and then a 3-match ban afterwards.
Yeah.
Why not?
But they deserve it, don't they? Because they've sort of set themselves up as being different. They wanted to play football. We can play football when the rest of the country, the 98% of people who also play football are not allowed to play football, but we can, because we're different. We can control this, and we won't be a risk. Right, so they set themselves up for that, which is fair enough. But in doing that, they have to accept the consequences of not being able to deliver what they have said they will deliver.
Right, Lol. Okay.
Goes back to Keith's original point that Newcastle should be punished as well.
Yes, I think they should be, because it's not just a player at Newcastle. I think it's more than one player, and it's other individuals in the club that have caused the postponement of certainly one game, and they're still discussing whether they're going to be able to play on this Saturday as well.
I'd take them to the hospitals. I'd take them to the hospitals, show them the people that are suffering, and say, you've caused that.
Yeah.
But would it's not just that club, is it? Would you want to play against them? No. Would you want to put your own family back at home at risk?
Exactly.
So then you're screwing the fixture list, because when that game is replayed, if it's at a different time of the year, conditions are different, league positions are different, your tactics can be different. The whole thing changes, and it's unfair both to your own teammates, but certainly every other team in that particular league, whoever it is.
You're dead right, Chris. And I wonder what would happen if, to make the example, said, Newcastle United, you're not playing to the rules. You can play your own game somewhere else, but you're not playing in the Premier League anymore for a season. That would send shudders down every spine in every boardroom, because they'd realise then they're losing big money. And football is driven by money, nothing more than money. The players, the clubs themselves, they're so well off, they think they're above it. And I'm talking about my own Liverpool, for example. There are times when what I saw on the Kop the other day was not pleasing to the eye.
No. At Brentford, they put the 2,000 fans in one stand, and they had to repeatedly use the tannoy system to tell their own fans what they were doing, and nothing happened. They continued to be in one lump, singing and shouting and bouncing up and down. One championship player jumped into the crowd and embraced a spectator.
Really? It's unbelievable, isn't it?
And that was photographed, and I can't remember the player, it was in the Sunday papers. Whoever the player is needs the highest possible level of censure.
My grandmother, who's a Yorkshire woman from Nafferton, she used to turn the hose on them, she'd say. She's right.
What I don't understand is Tottenham against Arsenal, didn't they have all the Tottenham fans in one stand? Now, I can understand it from you don't need as many stewards, but it's stupid. You've got 80,000 seats or however many it is. Spread them out.
They shouldn't let any fans in any ground until all fans can be let in all the grounds.
Quite right, John.
I agree.
John,
it's not a level playing field. It's ridiculous.
John,
and it's unfair.
100% right.
I agree with you, John. And as a Liverpudlian, Aston Villa, who did we beat? 4-0. Wolves. They hadn't got a chance. As soon as they let the Kopites in and they got together, one-sided, And you used the term about football being sterile. It turned it from the sterile game that it has been over the weeks into a very biased game. We don't know what's that.
No.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Yeah. They've got no common sense.
Well, shouldn't these clubs whose fans break the rules, shouldn't they be told, I'm sorry, next game you can't have anybody in?
Yes.
And then it's the fans who suffer, not
That'll
the club.
teach them.
Turn the hose on them. Turn the hose on.
Turn the hose.
That should be your
well done.
Ian, that should be your catchphrase. Turn the hose on them.
Well, it was Bananas, and she was always right. The other thing she did, Chris, she always measured everything by a thumbnail, and she said, it was not but just.
Right. Come on then, lol.
I'll just confirm.
Oh, is he still on?
Yeah.
Remember when they used to have news theatres you could pop into here that watch the news? It's like a giant news theatre, isn't it?
Lol's a rolling video, isn't he? He's not there in real life. You're just switching him on.
Yeah.
Continuous.
He's remarkably patient.
Just to confirm, Ronaldo got 450 goals for Real Madrid. Now,
Thank you.
Now, last weekend, it was the first time that Man City have not used any substitutes in a Premier League game for 15 years when they beat Fulham 2-0. And they talk about wanting 5. The draw was made yesterday for the qualifying rounds for the 2022 World Cup in Qatar. And England have been drawn with Poland, Hungary, Albania, Andorra, and San Marino in their group. So I think that's a fairly
tough group.
That's tough.
Isn't it so?
We've had some bad days against some of those, I'll tell you.
Poland.
Remember Poland? Tomaszewski. The clown.
Hungary,
Brian Clough called him.
We went 1-0 down to San Marino once.
Yeah, we did. Thanks to Stuart Pearce.
Next to no
I think England would have taken that draw before it happened. I said, I think England would have taken that draw before it happened.
I'll take it.
Andorra,
yeah.
tricky team that one. Andorra.
Hungary's not the team they were.
No.
Top
San
two
Marino,
look good.
they're improving. They're improving all the time, San Marino.
Well, all the smaller clubs have been over the years, haven't they, the last
Yeah.
recent years.
Yeah. Expectations only 7-0 this time, isn't it?
What
Is
have
that
San
it,
Marino
Paul?
and Andorra got in common?
The rubbish.
Wool.
We can beat England.
Wool. Yes, wool.
I put wool over his eyes. Yeah.
Right, well, have we reached the pinnacle?
Yeah, I'm knackered.
I think we feel.
I haven't had to listen to it.
Very, very good effort, lol.
Yeah, brilliant.
I
Right,
reckon
Have you finished, Lol?
just as a bit of as a bit of light entertainment, the top 20 funniest Christmas cracker jokes are out. So,
Come on,
I'm
Shane.
sorry, have we established that Lol's finished and he's not mentioned Wednesday United yet?
I think
Yeah.
he deserves a Lifetime Achievement Award.
No, I don't want anything cheers, John.
Sports. Sport
No, it's the
personality
angriest
of the
I've
year.
felt this weekend after the Norwich game. It's the angriest I've felt for a while. Football
Horrendous.
doesn't balance itself out over a season.
No, it doesn't.
Reading
it
should have had
doesn't.
2 penalties, and if they had done that, it'd have cost us 1 point. We should have had 2 penalties on Saturday, and that cost us 3 points. Don't
I
balance
thought,
itself
should
out.
I thought this current football season would appeal to you, John, as an advocate of the pantomime. I mean, because the whole thing's a pantomime.
Well, you're right. You've got to have a pantomime sense of humour to appreciate decisions like we've had. Anyway,
No, you
carry on,
don't.
Keith.
right,
Oh, yeah.
so going back,
Look
going
out, I'm behind you.
these Christmas jokes, all right? Are you ready? So you've got to say what the punchline is. And this is the #1 Christmas joke. What is Dominic Cummings' favourite Christmas song?
Riding home for Christmas.
Correct. And did you hear that production was down at Santa's workshop? Why?
working from home.
Elf isolating.
Elf isolated. Correct.
Brilliant. Brilliant.
Why didn't Mary and Joseph make it to Bethlehem?
They're in tier 3.
No. No. All Virgin flights were cancelled.
Oh, yeah.
I think I'll edit this bit out.
Yeah, I wouldn't record the next bit.
Why are Santa's reindeer allowed to travel on Christmas Eve?
Herd immunity, I told you.
Correct, yeah. Why did the pirates have to go into lockdown?
Oh, something about ours.
Yeah, because the R.
Oh, they are right. Yeah.
Why is it best to think of 2020 like a panto?
It's behind you.
It's behind
Yeah,
you.
it's
Behind you.
Yeah. Why couldn't Mary and Joseph join their work conference call?
Oh, there was no Zoom at the inn.
Correct.
You've got the answers in front of you, Paul.
Talk about
I read
lockdown. We
this
need
morning.
Remember
lockdown.
Zoom and Elf.
Yeah.
He's thrown his
Why
voice
can't
again.
Boris-
He's throwing his voice
Why
again.
can't Boris Johnson make his Christmas cake until the last minute?
Brexit.
No, doesn't know how many tiers it should have. What do the Trumps do for Christmas dinner?
Eat too many sprouts.
They put on a super spread. Which Christmas film was 30 years ahead of its time?
Oh, Home Alone.
Correct. How do you play Dominic Cummings Monopoly? It's ignore the rules, move anywhere on the board you like, and never go to jail. Why won't Santa lose any presents this year? No, he's downloaded Sack and Trace.
There again.
Downloaded what?
Sack and
Downloaded
Trace.
Sack and Trace. How is the pandemic like my stomach after Christmas?
Full of no.
It'll
Mumbles on.
take ages to flatten the curve. How is Prince Andrew coping with the stresses of Christmas this year?
He isn't.
He isn't.
Fine, no sweat. Why wasn't Rudolph allowed to take part in vaccine trials?
Red nose.
They only wanted guinea pigs. These are not so good. Scheme supports Christmas dinner. Eat Sprout to help out. How
You're
can
rambling there.
yeah? How can I'm just there's only 4 more to go. How
You're struggling now.
can you get out of talking to your boss at this year's staff Christmas party?
Go.
Mute.
Sorry.
Let me. How does Santa keep track of all the fireplaces
I'm
he's
losing him.
He has a logbook.
Yeah.
Who dresses in red and gives to the children this Christmas? Marcus Rashford. Why did Mary and Joseph have to travel to Bethlehem? Because they couldn't book a home delivery. So they're the top 20.
Well,
Excellent, Keith.
yeah, the first 15 were brilliant. Then you lost it.
Down a bit.
Yeah.
What do you do?
So where are we going? Oh, we've still 1 minute 52 seconds. So anybody got anything else that they want to bring up? Oh,
Can
right. Before we do, on the 22nd, it will be Christmas jumper day, Christmas hats, Christmas everything. So, and we might have a surprise or 2 in store.
Oh, oh, oh.
So Christmas, that's on the 22nd of December. Don't forget, you've got to all wear your Christmas jumpers and Christmas hats and have your
And nothing
decorations.
else.
Well, no. As long as we can't see anything else, it's,
Yeah. Can I just remind everybody that it's the referee's virtual Christmas quiz on Thursday evening. If people want to drop in, they'll be very welcome.
yeah, and I'm going to send the links out for that
Right.
later
Thank you.
today. So we,
You need answers.
we're now less than a minute, so that's it for this week then, chaps.
Yeah, yeah. Well done, Lol.
Well,
Done.
Lay down in the dark room.
see you on Thursday.
Nice to be back.